Chapter 5 The Prison. The soldier took Dantes to a small room. Then, at about 10 o'clock, an officer and 4 soldiers took him through the streets to the shore. They put Dantes in a boat. Then they watched him as the boat moved away. "What is happening?" Edmund thought wildly. "The judge was kind to me. He told me not to be afraid. He only told me not to say the name Noirtier. And he destroyed the letter in front of me." Dantes looked into the darkness. They were going out to sea. They were sailing away from everything that he loved. He turned to the nearest soldier. "Friend," he said, "please tell me where we are going. I am Edmund Dantes, a seaman, and a man who loves God and the king. Tell me where we are going." "You were born in Marseille, and you are a seaman, but you don't know where you are going? Look!" Dantes stood up and looked in front of the boat. 100 meters away he saw the black and frightening shape of the rock where the Chateau d'If stands. The prison was about 300 years old. People tell many strange stories about this place, Dantes thought. Prisoners go there and never return. Is this the end of all hope? "I am not going to be a prisoner there," cried Dantes. "Only important prisoners, enemies of the king, go there. Mr. Villefort promised me—" "Mr. Villefort told us to take you to the Chateau d'If." The boat reached the shore. A soldier jumped out, took Dantes' arms, and pushed him up some steps. He passed through a door, and the door closed behind him. He was in a courtyard with high walls on all sides. He heard the feet of soldiers walking around outside. "Where is the prisoner?" a voice said. "Follow me." Dantes followed. The man took him to a room which was almost under the ground. "This is your room for tonight," the man said. "It is late and the governor is asleep. Tomorrow, perhaps, he will send you to another place. There's bread and water and some dry grass to sleep on. Good night." The man left quickly and took away his lamp. Dantes was alone in the darkness and the silence. At the first light of day, the guard returned. Dantes was standing in the same place, just inside the door. The man touched Dantes on the arm and asked, "Haven't you slept?" "I don't know," Dantes answered. The guard looked at him. "Are you hungry?" "I don't know." "Do you want anything?" "I want to see the governor." The guard gave a short laugh and left the room. The door closed. Dantes threw himself on the floor. "What is happening?" he cried. "Why am I in this place?" The day passed. Dantes did not eat. He walked round and round the small room. The next morning the guard came back again. "Prisoner," he said, "are you feeling better today?" Dantes did not answer. "Be brave, man." "Can I get you anything?" the guard asked. "I want to see the governor." "That is not possible," the guard said. "What can I do then?" Dantes asked. "You can have better food, if you pay for it, and books, and you can walk around in the courtyard." "I don't want books. This food is all right. And I don't want to walk around. I want to see the governor." "You can't. Don't ask to see him. I will always say no. You will go crazy." "You think so?" "I know it. There is a man in this prison. He was in this room before you. If you help me, I will give you a lot of treasure," he told the governor. "He was put in a room underground 2 years ago." "Listen, I am not crazy," Dantes said, "and I must see the governor." "Ho, ho!" cried the guard, stepping back. "You are going crazy. We will have trouble with you. But there are plenty of places underground." He went out. A few minutes later he returned with 4 soldiers. "The governor has sent orders," he said. He turned to the soldiers. "This prisoner is crazy. Put him underground." The soldiers took Dante's arms. He went quietly. They walked down 15 steps. Then the soldiers opened the door of a room and threw Dantes inside. The door closed, and Dantes walked around. He held his hands out until he touched the wall. Then he sat down in a corner. It was very dark, and he could see nothing. "The guard is right," he thought. "This place will make me completely crazy." Chapter 6. Underground. Time passed. The chief officer of prisons visited the prisoners' rooms. "Is the food good?" he asked the prisoners. "Do you want anything?" "The food is very bad, and we want to be free," they all replied. The officer laughed and turned to the governor. "Why do we come here? We always hear the same thing. The food is bad, I have done nothing wrong, I want to be free." "Are there any other prisoners?" "Yes, there are the crazy prisoners. We keep them underground. They are a danger to other people." "Let's visit them. I must see them all." 2 soldiers took the officer down the steps. The air smelled bad. The darkness was full of the smell of death. "Oh," cried the officer, "who can live here?" "Very bad men. We must watch them very carefully." This was the officer's first visit. "Prisoner number 34. Let's visit this one first," he said. Dantes was sitting in the corner of his room. He looked up and saw the stranger with 2 soldiers. "This is an important officer," he thought. He jumped up to meet him, but the soldiers pushed him back. "The officer thinks that I am crazy," Dantes thought. He looked at the officer. He tried to make his voice quiet and calm. "I only want to know what is going to happen to me. Why am I here? Give me your permission to see a judge." "Perhaps," said the chief officer. Then, turning to the governor, he said, "Show me your books. What is this man's crime?" "I know that you can't free me," said Dantes, "but tell me, please, that there is hope." "I can't tell you that. I can only promise to ask about the matter. Who gave orders for you to come to the prison?" "Mr. Villefort." Does he have a reason to be your enemy? No. He was very kind to me, Dante said. Then I can believe what he writes about you in the prison's book? Yes. The officer left the room and closed the door. But he left something in the room. Hope. The officer kept his promise to Dantes. He looked in the prison book and found Edmond Dantes, a dangerous man. He helped Napoleon return from Elba. Watch him carefully. I can't help this prisoner, the chief officer thought. He wrote in the book, Do nothing. Chapter 7. Number 27. Days and weeks passed. Dantes began to think that the officer's visit was only a dream. Suddenly, one evening at about 9 o'clock, Edmund heard a sound in the wall next to his bed. He listened. Perhaps this is only a dream too, he thought. But he heard the sound again. He heard something fall, and then silence. Some hours later, he heard the noise again, nearer and more clearly. Edmund listened. I know what that sound is, he thought. A prisoner is trying to escape. Edmund wanted to help. He moved his bed. Then he looked round the room for a sharp tool. The only things in the room were a bed, a chair, a table, and a water pot. I will break the water pot and use one of the sharp pieces, he thought. He threw the pot on the floor, and it broke into pieces. He hid 2 or 3 pointed bits in his bed. The next morning the guard came into the room. The water pot fell from my hands when I was drinking, Dante said. The man was angry with him for his carelessness, but he brought another pot. He did not take away the broken pieces of the old one. Dante started to work. The stone wall was old and soft, and it broke into small pieces easily. At last he pulled a stone out of the wall. It left a hole 1/2 meter wide. He carefully carried all the small pieces of stone into the corners of the room and covered them with earth. He put back the big stone and placed his bed in front of the hole. Later the guard came with his evening meal. When the man left the room, Dantes started to work again. He worked all night, making a deep hole in the wall. Then he stopped. "What is this?" he cried. "I can't cut through it or move it." It was a great piece of wood. Dantes could not make the hole deeper. "Oh, my God, he cried. "I want to die. I have lost all hope." "Who is the man who can talk at the same time about God and about hopelessness?" said a voice under the earth. Edmund got up on his knees. "Ah," he said, "a voice, the voice of a man. In the name of God, speak again." "Who are you?" said the voice. "An unhappy prisoner." "Why are you in prison?" "I did nothing wrong," Dantes replied. "They say that I tried to help Napoleon. He wanted to return to France." "To return to France? Where is he now, then?" "They sent him to the island of Elba in 1814. Don't you know that? When did you come here?" in 1811. 4 years before me. Don't do any more work, said the voice. Just tell me, how high up are you? At the same height as the floor of my room, Dante said. What is behind the door of your room? A narrow room, and then the courtyard. Oh, that is bad, the voice said. My plan is wrong. I wanted to break through to the outside wall of the prison. And then? And then throw myself into the sea and swim to one of the islands near here. Cover the opening of the hole in the wall. Do it carefully. Stop working on the hole. Wait until you hear from me again. Tell me who you are, cried Edmund. I am number 27. Why don't you tell me your name? Edmund heard a quiet laugh. Oh, he cried, please don't leave me alone. I promise that I won't say a word to the guards. I will talk to you again, said the voice. Tomorrow. Edmund closed the opening in the wall, carefully hid the bits of stone, and put his bed back in its place. The next morning, when he moved his bed away from the wall, he heard a sound. He got down on his knees. Is it you? He said. I am here. Soon after that, part of the floor of Dante's room fell away. Stones and earth fell down into the opening. Then, at the bottom of the hole, Dante saw the arms and head of a man. The man climbed up into the room. Dante reached his hands out to his new friend. He was a small man, and his hair was white. His eyes were dark, and he had a long beard. He was not strong. You seem very happy to see me, he said to Dantes. Your happiness touches my heart. But Dantes knew that the man was very sad. You worked hard to escape, he said, but you haven't reached the outside of the prison. This is just another room. But there are 3 other sides to the room. Do you know what is outside those walls? One wall is built against the rock. One is against the lower part of the governor's house. If we get out there, the guards will catch us. And this side faces where? They looked at the 3rd side of the room. There was a small window high up in the wall, with 3 strong bars across it. The man pulled the table across the room and put it under the window. Climb on the table, he said to Dantes. Put your back against the wall and join your hands in front of your body. Then prisoner number 27 jumped up onto the table, and from there onto Dante's hands, and from there onto Dante's shoulders. He put his head through the top bars of the window, then pulled his head back quickly. Finally he said, I thought so. He got down quickly and easily. He moves as quickly as a young man, Dantes thought. This side of your room, said number 27, faces an open pathway. A soldier guards it day and night. It is not possible to escape through any of these walls. Dantes looked at the man. You really want to escape, he thought, and now you know that you can't. So why are you so calm? Then he said, Tell me, please, who are you?" "My name is Faria," the other man replied. "I came to the Château d'If in the year 1811. Before that, I was in the prison of Fenestrelle for 3 years." "But why are you here?" "As you know, there are a number of small countries in Italy. Each country has a ruler. I wanted to make Italy one great country under one great king. My chosen king tried to destroy me, and now Italy will never be one country. Napoleon tried to make it one country, but he did not complete his work. Poor Italy." The old man's voice was very sad. "Can I see your secret path behind the wall?" Dantes asked. "Follow me," said Faria, and he went into the deep hole in the wall. Dantes followed. Chapter 8. Faria's Room. The two friends passed easily along the underground path. Faria pulled up a stone in the floor, and they climbed into his room. Dantes looked around. "There is one thing that I still don't understand," he said. "How do you do so much work?" "I work all night." "At night? Do you have cat's eyes? Can you see in the dark?" "No, of course not. But God has given man a mind. With it we can make what we need. I made a lamp for myself. I get the oil from my food, and it burns very well." They sat and talked. Faria's words were clever and wise. Sometimes Dantes could not understand them. "You are very wise. Will you teach me?" Dantes asked. "I don't want you to get tired of me. A clever person doesn't want to talk to a person who knows nothing. Teach me, and then the hours will pass more quickly for you." Dantes learned new ideas from Faria very quickly and easily. He learned about the history of the world and the English language and many other things. Time passed. Dantes was much happier, but Faria's health was not good. One day Faria was in Edmund's room. Edmund was working on the secret path between their rooms. Suddenly Edmund heard Faria cry out in pain. He hurried to him and found him in the middle of the room. His face was as white as death. "What is the matter?" cried Dantes. "Quick," replied Faria. "Listen to me." Dantes looked at Faria's face and was afraid. Faria's eyes were dark, and there were deep blue circles round them. His skin was very pale. "Listen," said Faria. "I have a terrible illness. I was ill before I came to the prison. Help me back to my room. Take out one of the feet which hold up my bed. There is a small bottle of red liquid in the hole." Dantes acted quickly. He pulled the old man down into the underground path and took him back to his room. Then he helped Faria onto the bed. "Thank you," the poor man said. He was very cold now. "Now I must tell you about this illness. When it reaches its worst point, and not before, I pour a little of the liquid into my mouth." He stopped talking. The frightening greyness of death passed over his face. Dantes waited. Then he thought, "My friend is nearly dead." He took Faria's knife, broke open the bottle, and poured a little of the liquid into Faria's mouth. Then he waited again. "Will my friend die?" he cried. 1 hour passed, and there was no change. Then, at last, a little colour came into Faria's face. The wide open eyes showed some life. Faria could not speak, but he pointed to the door. Dantes listened and heard the steps of the guard. "He mustn't find me here," he thought. The young man ran to the opening of the underground path and hurried to his room. Just after he reached it, the guard came in with food. He saw his prisoner sitting, as usual, on the side of his bed. After the guard left, Dantes hurried back to Faria's room. He lifted up the stone and was soon next to the sick man's bed. Faria was a little better, but he was still very weak. "Don't lose hope," said Dantes. "You will soon be strong again." He sat down on the bed next to Faria and held the old man's cold hands. "No," said Faria. "My first illness lasted for only half an hour. When it ended, I got up from my bed without help. Now I can't move my right arm or leg, and there is a pain in my head. Next time, the illness will kill me."
End of CD1.